very first Viewer's Choice Toy Spot review, we're going to be having a look, as voted by you, we're going to be having a look at Marvel Legends Series 6, Juggernaut. The Juggernaut! Let's get a look at the packaging before we actually unleash this guy. Let's get a look at the packaging itself. The comic included with this Juggernaut figure is the X-Men number 13, Where Walks the Juggernaut, which I believe is his first appearance. Rather nice that they actually put his first appearance comic in there, because I know some Marvel Legends figures in the past actually have just put in comics where the character has appeared. Makes more sense to me to put in a first appearance. There you go. On the back of the packaging, oh, this packaging is so heavy. This gargantuan figure. The other figures in this particular wave, and then get a good close view here, is Juggernaut. We have the Thomas Jane Punisher, which wasn't too bad of a movie. We have Cable. We have the brown and yellow costume Wolverine. And then we have this obscure character. I don't even think anyone has ever even heard of this guy. I think his name is Deadpool. But those are the other figures in this particular wave. There is a read-up on Juggernaut here. It says, Kane Marco is a human juggernaut. Once he begins moving in a certain direction, no power on Earth can stand in his way. Scientists would easily classify him as an irresistible force, and when he gets head of steam, there's no subject that he can't move. Juggernaut possesses untold power, mystical in nature, which enhances his strength and grants him an extraordinary degree of resistance to all forms of injury. Once he begins moving in a certain direction, no force on Earth can stop him, only slow his pace. Sustained by the crimson gem of, I'm gonna mess this up, Sidorak? Kane Marco can survive indefinitely without food, water, or oxygen. However, Juggernaut is vulnerable to magical forces of sufficient strength. Without his helmet, constructed of an unknown mystical metal, he is susceptible to sonic attack. There we go. As you can see, he certainly peaks in the level of strength as well as durability. He's not very intelligent, however. So there you have packaging on Juggernaut. Can't believe how heavy this package is. What we're actually going to do is we'll get this guy open up, and then I'll give you guys a closer look at Juggernaut. So stay tuned, guys. And now that Juggernaut is out of his package, let's get a closer look at the figure. Before we actually have a look at the figure itself, we'll move him aside, and we'll get a closer look at the display stand that he comes with. A really interesting diorama. It looks to me like just a brick wall, and it looks like a bar, I guess a barred door, like a jail cell. And clearly Juggernaut has busted right through it. The rather interesting thing about this, I don't know if the camera can actually make this out, but there is a little plaque on the wall here, and it says Xavier Institute for Gifted Youngsters, 1407 Gray Malkin Lane, and trying to make out what that little, Salem Center, New York. So there you go. This is a great example of a really cool diorama that is included with these figures. Something I think that Mattel unfortunately has not been able to do, or sorry, not Mattel, Hasbro. Would be nice if they could bring back the idea of a diorama, because I think stuff like this behind the figures I think really add to the figure itself. So I really like that. And the fact that you can actually peg these onto the wall. You can hang this on the wall. Although being the fact that it's, I guess if you wanted to higher up, but it makes more sense to be on the ground. So that's the diorama that he comes with. Now we're going to look at the very cool, very large Juggernaut. I think probably the first thing you'll see is the fact that I don't believe I have very large hands, and this Juggernaut is extremely large. extremely large. Really, really nice figure though. Really, I guess not much to say about it. I mean, if you're a fan of the Juggernaut, I mean, it definitely looks like the Juggernaut. As you can see as well, there's some wear on his helmet where it looks like he's actually hit a couple of things, or people. It's possible. Give you guys a back view of it. Juggernaut's a very good example to me of a costume that's very basic in design, but works oh so well. I mean, costume-wise, he's really only like two colors. He's the brown, and then he's got this lighter brown color as well. And then his costume has these stripes running through it as well. But I mean, nice detail. The sculpt is really nice on it. You can make out all the little, you know, the wrinkles and stuff in his pants. I mean, unfortunately, being that it is a large figure, the joints and everything are very predominant on this figure. I mean, you can make out all the ball joints, all the hinges, all the little joints on this figure. But I mean, that's a very small problem. I mean, that's nothing. But I think one thing I really like the most about the figure is just the rivets in the metal here, the collar, and I love the fact that you can see like all the weathered. It almost looks like it's rusted, almost looks like it's a weared metal where he's rammed into different things. Very, very, very cool. Very cool. He also is sporting these veins in his arm, which I think almost is a little too dark in color. I know, you know, we get the idea. It's the Juggernaut, but I don't know if I like the blue veins. It would have been nice if it was just like a darker flesh color, where it wasn't as predominant. Now, before I get to the articulation, I'll just give you guys a good view of the figure here. His helmet does come off, which everybody knows. Very, very nice looking helmet. I like the lighting effect that's doing right now. But nice looking helmet though. If we take the helmet aside, as nice as the helmet is, I mean, I think his face done very, very well. I mean, most people probably would keep the helmet on Juggernaut, but the fact that Toy Biz gave that extra little bit of detail, I think really gives that character the extra little charm. You got the nice veins, the tendons. I like the evil sneer on his face. I mean, he definitely has that look like he knows he can't be stopped, which is very scary. But I really, I definitely say if you're collecting Marvel Legends and you're looking for characters to start your collection, Juggernaut definitely should be way up on the list. I mean, really nice figure. I'll put the helmet back on, just because that's, to me, Juggernaut should always have his helmet on. One thing too as well is that, I hope the light can catch this, is the fact that they've put the openings in the helmet just in the right places where you can see his eyes, but like from a certain angle you can't make out his eyes. I like that a lot. But in the way of his articulation, actually, you know what? We'll take the helmet off just for the sake of showing off his head articulation. He has a full movement in his head. I can move up and down. He's got a ball-jointed shoulder as well. He also has the additional joint in his back, where you can actually get the arms to extend out a little further as well. So if he really wants to maul somebody, you can get the extra little bit of range out of it. But his arms move pretty freely, although it's a large figure, so you're not going to get as much ease with moving these arms that you would with, say, you know, Cyclops, Wolverine. But he's got a rotation in his bicep. He's got a joint in his elbow. You can also rotate. I think you can rotate. No, you can't. I, for some reason, thought you could rotate at the arm as well. It doesn't look like you can, though. No. But he does also have articulation in the hand. You can also move his thumb, just a slight bit. And he also has articulation in the, what looks to be in the individual fingers, which is really interesting. No, There's only one, actually there's only articulation in his pointer finger, and then the additional 3 fingers are all one joint. It's not too big of a deal because really the fact that this bar, or his, I don't really know what you want to call that, almost like his, it's not like brass knuckles, but like it's a metal knuckle plate, really hinders his fingers from moving anyways. And I mean, aside from making fists and extending his hand out, I mean, you really wouldn't need necessarily any more articulation. He also has articulation in the waist, and it's rather interesting articulation because you can actually shift his waist over on either side. It's just the way he was sculpted. But I mean, you get free range there. And he also has articulation in the leg. You can rotate the thigh. 2 points of articulation in the knee. You can also bend the foot, and also you can bend the toe. He has articulation in the toe. Sorry, I'm just playing around with him here. This is actually the first time I've been able to open up this figure. He's been imprisoned in a package for all these many years or so. But overall, I really don't think I have to hype this guy up too much. I mean, I think for the holy grail of Marvel Legends, I think Juggernaut definitely is one of those on the list. If you don't own a Juggernaut, you need to definitely own a Juggernaut. And if you're looking for Marvel Legends that you should be collecting, Juggernaut should be way up on that list. Way up on the list. I really can't say too much bad about the figure. I mean, aside from really like the veins, the coloring on the veins and whatnot, I really don't have very many flaws with this figure at all. Just to give you guys a size comparison, I'll bring in very, very small Wolverine from the Hasbro Red Hulk series, just to kind of give you guys a scale comparison. There's little Wolverine there, and there's Juggernaut. As you can see, Juggernaut is quite large, and definitely a figure that I don't think has ever been used sculpt-wise for anything else. Body-wise, I think Juggernaut stands on his own. But what a great looking figure, though. Really glad I picked it up. But there you have the very first Viewer's Choice Toy Spot. And on today's Toy Spot, we were looking at the very imposing, very large, very heavy, very cool Juggernaut. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that hit the spot. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. As I was just wrapping up on this video of Juggernaut, I did happen to turn the wrist. So while I originally said that you couldn't turn the wrist in the articulation end of the figure, it turns out the figure was actually just a bit stiff. So the one other gripe I would have had about this figure was the fact that you couldn't give him the come get some gesture. But now that you actually can rotate the forearm, you can do that now, which only sells this figure more so for me. But just a quick follow-up on this video that yes, in fact, you can rotate him at the forearm as well. And I think I'll be on my way. See you guys next time.